She stepped onto the range quietly, unnoticed by most, and completely dismissed by the rest. Just a simple woman in jeans and a windbreaker, no flashy gear, no special title. The shooting competition had already drawn a crowd, mostly law enforcement, sharpshooters, and the city's elite SWAT team. It was meant to be a high-level training event, not a place for civilians. When she asked for a spot to compete, they laughed her off. Asterisk. This isn't for beginners, asterisk, one officer said. Another shook his head and walked away, but she didn't argue. She just waited, watching, quiet and calm. As the team took their shots, the crowd cheered for each bullseye, every tight grouping of rounds. The SWAT unit had clearly practiced for years, disciplined, precise, and confident. No one thought twice about the woman who had been denied a chance. That is, until a senior instructor, curious about her patience, finally gave her one round, just one, to prove herself. With eyes fixed on the target, she slowly raised her arm. There was no hesitation in her breath, no trembling in her grip. A single shot rang out. Silence fell, everyone turned. What happened next stunned even the most experienced shooter on the field, and changed how everyone saw her, and what they believed about skill, instinct, and humility. But who was she? And how did she come to possess such focus and talent that one bullet could shake an entire SWAT team? You'll want to hear the rest of this story. Nobody saw it coming. The bullet struck dead center, clean, exact, and more accurate than any shot taken that entire day. The crowd stood frozen, unsure whether to applaud or question what just happened. The SWAT captain narrowed his eyes, looking back at the woman who had just stepped off the line like nothing had happened. No celebration, no smirk, just calm. People started whispering. Asterisk who is she, asterisk where did she learn to shoot like that, asterisk? Some assumed it was luck. Others weren't so sure. The instructor who gave her that single round now watched her with a different kind of respect. But she wasn't there to prove a point, at least not in the way most thought. Her name was Maria, a retired school teacher according to the event list. No military record, no law enforcement history, no flashy medals or certificates, just a name on paper, barely noticed until that shot echoed across the range. And yet, something about her calm, almost quiet confidence hinted at a story much deeper. Later, a few officers tried to talk to her, but she didn't give much away. Said she grew up in a small town, learned to shoot as a teenager, nothing special. But that shot, that asterisk shot, said otherwise. The kind of control, precision, and timing she showed doesn't come from casual practice. So why was Maria really there that day? And how did a former teacher manage to outshoot a team trained for combat situations? The answer might surprise you, or even change how you see everyday people. After that shot, Maria didn't return to the range the next day. She disappeared as quietly as she arrived, but the talk didn't stop. Inside the SWAT unit, egos had taken a hit. Some officers shrugged it off, saying anyone can get lucky once. Others weren't so sure. The instructor who had handed her the round, Sergeant Rios, couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. He started digging, not because he was suspicious, but because he was curious. What he found only raised more questions. Maria had no official shooting records, no competition history, no training certifications. Yet, according to a former student he tracked down, she once taught marksmanship at a summer camp in the Midwest. Another said she used to practice on old cans in her backyard and never missed a single one. Just stories, nothing concrete. But all of them shared one detail. Maria never bragged, never explained. She just did what she needed to do, then moved on. Meanwhile, inside the department, some officers began questioning the selection process for the team. If someone like Maria, someone outside the system, could outperform them, what did that say about the training they swore by? Others started pushing back, worried this whole incident would go public and embarrass the unit. And then came a strange twist. An old photo surfaced online, grainy, black and white. A younger Maria standing beside a military sniper, both holding rifles. No caption, no date, just enough to stir doubt. Who was Maria, really? And why now? Why that one shot? The photo changed everything. It spread quietly at first, shared among a few officers, then across private message boards, then finally landing in the hands of a retired Marine who claimed to recognize the man standing next to Maria. A decorated sniper, once part of a classified unit, known only by call sign Hawk. The kind of soldier whose missions never made the news, whose records were sealed. And there was Maria, right beside him, holding her stance like someone who knew exactly what she was doing. That discovery lit a fire under Sergeant Rios. He wasn't just curious anymore, he needed answers. He reached out to a contact in military archives, digging deeper into who Maria might have been before she became a quiet school teacher. But the files he requested came back mostly redacted. Her name didn't appear officially connected to any known operation, but her face, kept turning up in background images, always near weapons teams, always on the edge of action. Back at the SWAT department, pressure was building. The unit was being quietly reviewed. Some officers resented the attention. Others feared what might come next if the truth about Maria became public. They weren't just worried about reputations anymore, they were worried about being exposed. What if she had been watching them on purpose? What if her presence wasn't just a coincidence? Then, one evening, Sergeant Rios got a note. No return address, just a folded piece of paper with a time, a location, and one sentence. It was never about the shot. And just like that, everything was about to change. Rios stared at the note for a long time. It was never about the shot. That line echoed in his mind as he drove to the location written on the paper, an old half-abandoned training ground on the edge of town. It was the kind of place only veterans remembered, once used for covert exercises before it was shut down. The air was still, the shadows long. He wasn't sure what, or who, he expected to find, but what he found wasn't Maria. Waiting for him was an older man in civilian clothes, leaning against a rusted fence. Calm, alert, like someone who knew how to watch without being seen. He introduced himself only as Cole, said he used to work with Maria, a long time ago, in a place no one admits exists. According to him, Maria wasn't just a gifted marksman. She was part of a quiet program, off the books, training individuals for intelligence support in conflict zones. Not soldiers, not agents, ghosts, people who could disappear, blend in, and hit their mark without leaving a trace. But here's where it turned. Cole wasn't just delivering background, he was delivering a warning. Maria hadn't shown up at the range to compete. She was testing the SWAT team, seeing how they moved, how they responded under pressure. And worse, someone else knew she was there. Someone who wasn't happy about her coming back into the open. Before Rios could ask more, Cole handed him a flash drive and simply said, "If you're going to keep digging, you'd better know what you're standing in." Then he vanished into the trees, leaving Rios with more questions, and a sense that whatever Maria had started wasn't finished, not even close. Back in his car, Sergeant Rios plugged the flash drive into his laptop, unsure what he'd find. The files were encrypted, but one folder stood out, labeled *observation, SWAT Bravo *. Inside were surveillance clips, detailed profiles, even voice analysis reports. It was clear Maria had been watching them, every drill, every training session, every command given and received. Not to expose weakness, but to measure something deeper: judgment under stress, coordination, trust. It wasn't about accuracy, it was about readiness. The real shock came in the final file, a video. In it, Maria sat alone, speaking directly to the camera. She revealed everything, how the agency she once worked for had disbanded unofficially, but loose ends remained. One of those ends, she explained, had ties to the very city the SWAT team protected. A quiet threat, buried in a shell company fronting as a security contractor. The same contractor now lobbying to take over local training programs, including SWAT's. Maria's one shot wasn't just a message, it was a warning. She wanted to show that sometimes the most dangerous threats don't come in loud. They blend in. She had hoped someone would notice. Rios did. Armed with this, Rios brought it to the city board. An internal investigation was launched, the contractor exposed for backdoor dealings, and the department spared from takeover. But just when it seemed like the story was done, Rios received one final envelope. Inside was a photo. Maria standing in a crowd overseas, recent, alive. On the back, in neat handwriting. *: clean shot is never about the target. It's about what you're willing to protect. *: the photo stayed on Rios's desk for weeks. No name, no location, just that one line, reminding him what all of this had been about. Maria hadn't come back to make headlines or settle scores. She came because she saw something at risk, something worth protecting. Not just the SWAT team, but the people they served, the integrity of the system, the idea that skill and instinct still mattered more than politics or profit. Word spread quietly through the department. No official report was ever filed with her name. No medals, no press releases. But the team trained differently now, more focused, more aware. And something in the culture shifted. They started paying closer attention to the overlooked voices, the quiet ones who didn't flash credentials or talk themselves up. Because sometimes the sharpest mind in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one watching from the edge, waiting for the right moment to act. Rios never heard from Maria again, but he didn't need to. Her message was clear. True skill doesn't need validation, and real strength often comes from the most unexpected places. Her single shot wasn't just about precision. It was a challenge to see beyond the surface, to look deeper, and to never underestimate a quiet stranger with steady hands and a purpose. In the end, she reminded them all of something simple but powerful: the value of readiness, the danger of assumption, and the strength of those who walk softly but never miss. The photo stayed on Rios's desk for weeks. No name, no location, just that one line, reminding him what all of this had been about. Maria hadn't come back to make headlines or settle scores. She came because she saw something at risk, something worth protecting. Not just the SWAT team, but the people they served, the integrity of the system, the idea that skill and instinct still mattered more than politics or profit. Word spread quietly through the department. No official report was ever filed with her name. No medals, no press releases, but the team trained differently now, more focused, more aware. And something in the culture shifted. They started paying closer attention to the overlooked voices, the quiet ones who didn't flash credentials or talk themselves up. Because sometimes the sharpest mind in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one watching from the edge, waiting for the right moment to act. Rios never heard from Maria again, but he didn't need to. Her message was clear. True skill doesn't need validation, and real strength often comes from the most unexpected places. Her single shot wasn't just about precision. It was a challenge to see beyond the surface, to look deeper, and to never underestimate a quiet stranger with steady hands and a purpose. In the end, she reminded them all of something simple but powerful: the value of readiness, the danger of assumption, and the strength of those who walk softly but never miss.